stretch my hands over to the bicard and offer Nigel some. Nigel Francis, answer your name.
Yeah, I right here, but now you have me jealous now. You see that same thing you're doing to me every Saturday morning. Now I need to go and see if I can get some gaku tea, some green banana, not green banana, a fig, some codfish,
yeah, man,
and all the rest of it. That's the thing you're doing to me right now.
Yeah, smoke a ring and everything like that, you know.
Oh, yo. But how you doing, my dear?
I'm fine. It's kind of cold on the outside, a little cold on the inside still. I guess I have to put off that AC. You see that foodie there? Nah, that's not for me, Papa.
I don't know what Dean doing to you this morning. They have that AC so high up.
Who is Dean again?
Dean, how you doing? Instructions.
No, but Dean is around, ensuring that everything is going fine.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I
know it's kind of wet right now at home, right?
Man, it's wet, I tell
it's
you.
Been raining away.
Yeah, I mean, not so heavily, you know. It's light to moderate.
Good.
But, yeah, we have the rain. So it has brought on the foodie. So what you say, Nigel? You want some cocoa tea? You want... Wait, should I say that?
Yes. Send me some, and then if you can package a little bit of the codfish and fig and a couple bits.
But I thought you were coming for the cricket match tomorrow. So I had one grip of things with Nigel. You changed your mind, man.
No, man. But don't worry. Remember, we have the direct flight, so that might still be able to work for me.
You know. So let's see. Let's see if we can set up a vibes, man.
Let's see if we can set up something.
Yeah, let's see.
Never know. You know?
Yeah. So it's cricket action. Somebody tell the weather system that we have cricket. So this wave is checking its vibe. But as I said earlier, it's really slight to moderate showers. So I suspect, and that's a big suspect, that probably by 1:40 it'll be good to go. You know, the field in Dominica, it's well known for drying quickly. So let's keep our fingers tightly crossed.
Oh yeah, Windsor Park is known to be one of the fastest drying fields. So hopefully it can continue with that legacy and have cricket running at 1:30, and I'm pretty sure DBS is going to be on top of the action, right?
Oh yes, we will be on top of the action. We really look forward to exciting cricket, Nigel. You know, as West Indies as well is looking to continue their recent success against Bangladesh. So we want to see what happens in DA.
We're definitely looking towards that. And I know that all those who have been longing for cricket for such a long time and, you know, have not had the pleasure of seeing cricket at home since, you know, before Maria, I'm sure that they're looking towards the game, and more so for West Indies victory.
So we wish Nicholas Puran and the squad well. You would know, Nigel, that the West Indies recently enjoyed a 3-0 clean sweep against Netherlands, but they also suffered a 3-0 whitewash against Pakistan. So mixed results. So let's see what DA brings for them as well.
Well, you know, DA has always given us great results. So, you know, we want to continue in that trend. So we want to put some Nature Island vibes on the West Indies team.
I tell you.
You know, give them some Nature Island blessings for the last 2 days of the rain. And now we're ready to give them some more blessings to ensure that they can get a victory today and tomorrow.
So they'll get the booyah water, you know, and all the good things that goes with it.
Yes, some booyah water, get them a little kaku tea as well, you know, and stuff. And they'll be good.
All right. But a lot is happening.
I hope they're not giving them villas Milo and them things at the hotel, you know. I hope it's kaku tea yes, I hope that's what they're giving to them.
I hope so myself. You know, some fig, not even the green bananas, fig.
No, man, that's what they have to give to them.
Yeah. But a lot is happening in DA. It's Kadar Slipso month, started yesterday. Emancipation month as well. Graduation season is on. You know, the summer activities, plenty. And we continue to keep hope alive for Kanisha as well, even amidst all of this.
Yes. It's a nice, well, I don't want to say it's a nice, but it's a mix of so much stuff that's going on. Let me first say congratulations to Wadix and the Creole Happy team for, you know, Kada Sleeps a Month. And as you mentioned, all the graduations that's going on now. So congrats again to all the graduates and looking forward to big things for them. But our prayers and hopes continue for Kanisha and the family. And, you know, we will continue doing what we have to do to ensure that at some point we can bring her home. Special good morning as well to my brother, Mr. Erickson Bertrand, principal of the Warner School. Rico, hold tight, and I hope that, you know, Kanisha can walk through the the gates of the Warner Primary School again.
Yeah. Let's keep hope alive. Nigel, it's also mango season, Nigel. And Nigel, how are we? You know what it is like when it's mango season.
You're going to do that to me again.
Nigel, let me tell you, for the past month, almost every day I go home, and I would go home normally, twice a day, Nigel, I am greeted by, like, seriously, a lot of mangoes, maybe a box, at times a basin, or even a crocker's bag. Nigel, and if you think that's too much, wait till I tell you about a similar experience with pineapples and fat pork, and now Nigel Kenip's, Kenip's on the scene. So you can just imagine.
Hold on a second. Let me call American Airlines, because this thing troubling me now.
Nigel is mangoes for breakfast, mangoes for lunch, mangoes for dinner. I hope my doctor not listening. He said it's too much mangoes.
Don't worry, natural sweeteners.
And Nigel,
nothing to worry about.
It's not like before when young people would go on a spree to eat the food from the trees. I mean, the devices are just the best thing for them since sliced bread nowadays. But in our time, wow. We would what?
You're going to stone some mango and see what happening.
Yes, you would bleach it. What is bleach again, Nigel? Nigel, like over my face. Who's bleach or plime or something? Where we go to in Dominica?
You are plime. You not hear you. You are plime. Is it plime? I know plime for sure.
But bleach too. I mean, you really have to understand the nuances of the local dialects, because we are really good in Dominica. Yeah, we are so creative with words, and it's no wonder we are Dominicans. Special.
And that's when you're out here in the diaspora, and then you hear, regardless of the accents that become through, but then you hear this Dominican word, and you hear this word,
and it's a Dominican.
Hey, Dominica, yes, here I go.
Yes. Yeah, man. So nowadays you would not find so many mangoes rotting, on the tree. But
no, you couldn't because I mean, it wasn't a situation like you say, like today. You probably, would get there. You go to the market, and some friend bring it across for you. Those days after school, you would see what you have to do and go and get your own.
Yeah, no lunch for you, because when you see you go home, you are like, you're well fixed.
You're full up. You're good to go.
What? Give me a guab. Give me a guab, and that was the time, back in the day. Give me a guab and one mango.
Yeah, but now I understand. You take a knife now and you cut it and you slice it.
Yes. So
nothing better than holding the mango and taking a guab. That's the best thing.
I tell you, even my children want to enjoy a mango with a knife. I'm like, what? Anyway. Yes, and it has to be very hard for them to eat it. It has to be very hard. So they will probably just eat the Julie mangoes, the grafted ones. Grafted is what again in Creole you call grafted mango? Guye. Why we good with too? Guye. How are we?
I mean, the kind of names we call things,
I tell you.
And the terms that we have for them, it's amazing.
It is amazing. By the way, Nigel, what is the latest on the war with Ukraine? I mean, Roe v. Wade is all in my face, when I follow news on the television. So I even forget, a lot about Russia and Ukraine and what is happening. Is Vladimir Putin still pulling the ropes? What is happening?
Well, I mean, I think Putin has decided that unless he gets complete control of Ukraine, he's not going to ease up. So, I mean, he's moving a lot more into the east now, into the east region. But to him, it's going to be complete control. Of course, the Ukrainian people continue to defend as best as they can. Recently there was some more aid given, and then this week again, the Biden administration supposedly pledged another 80-something million in terms of weapons again towards Ukraine. So at some point in time, it seems that the US and the allies are becoming a lot more active now in terms of their assistance. As to how that's going to translate to Russia in terms of whether the allies are becoming more actively involved, and therefore it's an act of aggression. We wait to see. But that war continues.
Wow.
And I think all of us, when this started in Ukraine, we probably thought this was going to be like, a very short, possibly invasion, and if not, Putin and the Russian forces would, withdraw. Wow. But it doesn't look that way. It looks like, they've decided that they're going all the way.
Wow, this is so sad. I mean, the last I heard, I think it was sometime this week though. It was that Russia had fired, I think, dozens of missiles on Ukrainian cities in the past few days, and Russia, remember, Nigel, had claimed that they were targeting military sites and infrastructure. But in reality, Russia is often, hitting civilian areas. But these strikes on Ukraine show a weakness, though, as much as a strength.
It does, because when you begin to attack civilians, and of course sometimes blaming it on technology, that the missiles took a wrong turn, or the coordinates were not putting properly, and therefore the actual target was shifted. All these technical terms that they use. When we know that's not the case, we know basically it's you beginning to attack the citizens because you feel that by doing so, you can begin to weaken the resolve and weaken the defense that's coming through. So, I mean, we've been saying this for the last couple of months, but at some point, some decisions have to be made as to how much longer can we allow the Ukrainian people to go through what they're going through. It's a tough call, though.
Since February, Nigel, I think it was February 24 when Russia, started with the attacks on Ukraine.
Yes.
We're in July.
That's like a couple of months now, and it doesn't seem like any let up at all. But again, it's also, the Ukrainian people, we have to probably say, I don't think Russia, including, recognized or realized that they were going to be met with such resistance. And they thought it was going to be an easy walkthrough, So, but they continue to fight, and we continue to support the best way that we can.
So I'm following what is happening with Roe v. Wade. I'm not saying much on it, but I realize that the U.S. Supreme Court has opened the door for individual states to restrict the ability for pregnant women to get abortions, Nigel, and some states will ban abortions as well.
Yes, and there's been so much protest going on in different states. As you know, Roe versus Wade was, back in 1973 thereabout. So it's, overturning a 40-year law that existed, which basically protected the rights of women. And of course, women all over have risen up. Well, not just women. I mean, men and everybody else who believes in the right of choice and believes that, every woman has a right to decide for herself what happens to her body. And so, that has sparked tremendous protests all over. And giving individual states the rights is really not the best option. I know our guest is more in terms of immigration, but she might probably weigh in that, you never know. But giving the rights to individual states opens up the door for so much more, because, one particular state can say yes, one can say no. And then there's the possibility of restricting travel from one state to another in order to secure, whether it's an abortion or to secure Planned Parenthood and so on. So it's just going to open up a lot more avenues for states that have their own, specific agendas to curtail the rights of women. So it's really not the best of decisions, man.
So we look to see how it will unfold. But yes, quite a few protests going on, and so I'm following this with interest as well.
And they continue. I mean, the protests continue, and it's the right thing to do. And one only hopes that the Supreme Court's pretty conservative, but we hope that there can be some way in which reason can prevail, and that at some point we can go back to what used to be.
So Nigel, by the way, I'm still getting reviews from this program with Father Branca John. A lot of reviews still coming in. A lot of people really enjoyed Father Branca John on. In fact, to Nigel, I was listening very quickly before we go to our guest. I was listening to the launch of Creole Heartbeats Calypso Month, and Gordon Henderson, Papa Creole, he was on, and he was saying that he was listening to Connecting the Dots with Ivona John Baptist Lugie and Nigel Francis. So I was like, what is he going to say? I check in, mind media, my friend Gordon. And I know he's listening. But anyway, so he was making reference to what Father Branca John, and I really have to get used to saying this, Father John. But
I
anyway,
know, right?
he was making reference to what he said when he said that when he had entered the Calypso arena, I think, and it was seen then as an art form for low life people, something like that. Was it?
Yes,
I think
yes,
he was
yes.
referring
So
to
the VNeg.
Kadas or Calypso. Anyway, it was for like the VNeg, So
Mm-hmm.
Gordon was bringing up that point as well. But some strong points that Branca John would have made on that program, Nigel.
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. And the reviews have been coming in, and that has been shared in terms of the program has been shared. And I think what is probably more interesting was his journey. And I
Yeah.
think that's probably what people were so, captivated by the fact that, he's in a sense touched through all the different facets when you consider one's life.
Yeah.
Calypsonian priest, it's politician and all the rest of it. So I think his story and his journey is what captivated people, and the fact that he was able to express it in such a human way.
Yeah.
Most times when people think of a priest, they kind of feel like that human element is no longer there and they're untouchable kind of a thing. So the fact he was able to relate and let you know, hey, I'm here. I went through most of the things that you guys are going through and you people have gone through. So, hey, Father John, Bricks, Branca, anything he said, it's fine. Good morning to you, my brother. Thanks so much.
All right. So, Nigel, it's time to bring on our guest. I mean, we have really traveled far and wide to connect to Dominicans who reside abroad. And we have also made contact with many Dominicans who reside right here in DA. Not too long ago, we went to Beijing, China. We also brought live a segment of a trade exposition in New Jersey, and we had this live. We have touched on so many issues and we have learned so many stories, Nigel. We have had so much fun.
Oh, yes.
Seriously. And this morning, we connect with this lady who is a licensed and regulated citizenship and immigration consultant in Canada. Is Taihisa Guye, Nigel? I have that correct,
yes. Right? Yeah, well, of course, if you don't, she'll let you know, but it's okay.
But one of the fun aspects of the program, Nigel, is and when you come in, when you shine your light, because one of the fun aspects is to really welcome our guests. Long ago, Nigel Francis thought that his drum, would add color to this segment of the program when we welcome the guests. So I'm saying this all to make sure that you are preparing, Nigel. I already my mouth, so I hope the drum is close. And I know at times he has the tambourine and even the whistle.
I know.
So Nigel, go ahead under this rain. Give me a slow rhythmic beat and then spice it up.
You can hear my drum in the background so I can welcome the guests.
All right. That's it, Nigel? Yes, sir, Nigel.
You want some tambourine?
Boy, Nigel, under that rain there, give me something too,
Okay. Hold on. I come in.
Yes, sir. That is an immigration consultant beat me.
Yes.
Okay, Papa Nigel. He's all right.
You good now?
The 22% I'm giving you today is something you can hold on to.
What percentage you didn't give me? I go back to 10.
22? Nigel, I flat? Yes, sir. Anyway, let us welcome our guest. Good morning to you, lady. Welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be on today with both of you and quite entertained. I was not expecting all this entertainment this morning, so thank you. Nigel. My cheeks are already hurting.
Nigel, not causing that. That's all Nigel like. Oh, boy. Yeah.
And I didn't even have no mangoes now. Can you believe? And look, I could see and I doing that. Look trouble for me now.
I suspect next week I'll put a table at the back there and lay, everything on the table. But anyway, that's for next week. All right, so welcome to Connecting the Dots. It really is a pleasure to have you on. I can remember when Nigel sent me your info, I was like, wow, we need to have her on because there's so much that we want to talk about. So tell us who you are, give us your name. Let me ensure that I have the proper pronunciation, and we'll move on. So tell us who you are.
So I'm Taihisa Guye, and you said it perfectly, Ivona.
All right.
Nigel.
Taihisa Guye. Ivona, she don't know she just that. She just tell us Taihisa. You think that's it?
I can log off now.
Oh no, it's not the good time stuff.
Okay. All right.
Nigel, like Beth.
Before I get into her story, though, I was told that I have to say good morning to you from Mr. Billy Doctrove, your godfather.
Yes.
So Billy, I'm sure you heard her. I said good morning to her, and then I was also told I must say good morning to you from my niece Nicole. Sefton girl, of course, is your cousin.
Oh my God, yes.
Good morning
yes,
to them as
boy,
well.
Nigel, boy.
Yes.
Family again, boy. Nigel.
Have me covered.
Yes, Sefton and everybody else. I will have a connection again.
Boy, one day I'll bring in a close friend in your family, and you'll see.
One day you must bring it across with of yours.
Yes.
But I mean, so tell us a little bit about it in terms of what part of Dominica you're from, and where you grew up, and the early childhood kind of a situation.
Definitely. So first of all, morning to Nicole and Sefton. These are my cousins here in Canada. And Billy Doctrove is my godfather from baptism. So I've been close to him all my life. And also a role model, very proud of him and all his accomplishments. So I am, again, Taihisa Guye. I am from the beautiful and maybe the best community in Dominica, Loubier. My parents are Peter and Gloria Hill. So...
What? You serious?
Yes.
Okay,
so my family is originally from Laudut, so that is from the free road of Loubier going towards Point Michel. So the last couple houses in Loubier on the seaside, that would be my father's family. So Buple, who was the great Calypsonian, may he rest in peace. That was my uncle. That's my father's brother. And my mom from all over. My mom from La Plaine, my mom from Bellevue, my mom from Loubier. So growing up, I did born and raised in Loubier, and I attended convent prep and then convent high school, proud to be a convent graduate. Then immediately after high school, I moved to the US to be with my aunt Rosalind Desiree, who's now deceased. So Lord Tokyo is my aunt's father, which is also family to my dad. So if you know all the hills in Fobawa, so Fobawa is where our house is, but I was raised in Laudut with my grandparents and cousins. So if you know Hills Pharmacy, these would all be my cousins from up Fobawa. So I left Dominica at the age of 17. And I went to Connecticut where I did a bachelor's in geology. And then from Connecticut, I got a scholarship with National Science Foundation in the US. And I went to North Carolina where I did a master's in GIS. So that's Geographic Information Systems. So overall, I'm a geologist / GIS, and GIS is developing maps. From that, I came back to Dominica. And I worked at mapping for maybe 2 years, I want to say, as the construction manager there. And then I moved to Dominica State College, where I taught geography there for a number of years. And then after that, I just went into consultancy and pretty much been self-employed ever since. I am married and I have a daughter. So that's where the Guy in my name comes in. And that would link me to, again, I'll be biased, the best costume maker in Dominica, Mr. Danley Guy. And so that's my father-in-law. And then Sylvia Guy, who I'm sure everybody who went to St. Martin's School knows Sylvia Guy, because she's been a teacher there for many years. And that's my mother-in-law.
You have done all that already. I'm looking at you and you look like you're just 26 or 22 thereabout.
Hey, merci. Moi vieux, ça va, Ivona. Moi vieux.
Nigel. Very interesting.
Booyah water. That's the booyah water.
Yeah. Exactly.
That does that.
I mean, when you have people like Billy Doctrove on your side and Gloria is your mom, and Dominica is your father-in-law. You have a very interesting story to tell. So Nigel, it's no wonder that you want to ask some more questions.
Well, I mean, of course, and then she has Father Peter Hill as a brother. So I mean, it's like, you know, it's she has a combination of all over. But very quickly though, I mean, Taihisa, in terms of like growing up in Dominica and convent and convent prep, and what was it like? What were you like always into studies, or did you take part in other activities? Were you like a troublesome kid? What was it like?
I would say troublesome, and I'm sure my mother who's listening would agree to that, and all my family listening would agree to that. And I think they will also say she's still troublesome.
I can sense that just the way you're saying it with this chuckle, like I can just sense that.
Yeah, you know, life is too short to take it too seriously, right? You have to have some fun. I'm a very loving person and very family oriented, so I'm always involved with my family. I would say I had a pretty good upbringing. I never lacked anything. My parents always worked and always provided. We were always traveling. I was mostly involved in church and school activities. So I was an altar silver. I was in the choir at Lubier Holy Spirit Chapel. And then in school, I was a prefect. I was a deputy head girl. I was a hall monitor. I was a class president. So I was always into leadership, always, you know, motivating and inspiring people. Again, I spent a lot of my time in Lubier, in Canefield by my grandmother. So those of you who know Mary Pascal, if you know Mary, who was the post lady in La Plaine, that would have been my aunt, my grand aunt. So I spent time in La Plaine with my grandmother's side of the family. I spent a lot of time in Bellevue with my mother's mother or father's side of the family. So I love the countryside, and I was always into something, really. I wasn't a stay inside person. If you look for me, like Ivona was saying, I was under the mango tree, setting stones at a mango. I was climbing a guava tree. I had my little casgot and I was fishing in the sea, Lubier, catching kong, using the kong to make our bait to fish. We would, you know, run and steal fig from the neighbor's yard, take it, peel it, make our little jot by the sea. Then after she'll come and complain to my grandmother.
Nigel, well, I all want to go back there to that time.
I didn't mean to cut you, but that would brought back so much great memories. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
And I mean, Lubier has a lot of mangoes and guavas as well. So I can well imagine.
And if you think of Abala Falaise, which would be where I really spent my time, and on that hill, it was all mangoes from the main road all the way to go back to like Madrell.
Yes.
So we were always in there. I mean, when we, like Ivona was saying, when you come home after being out under a mango tree, you don't want to eat nothing your parents cook because you're so full. Or we used to spend most of our days in the sea because, again, I was right there. The sea was our backyard, you know. So you would come out from the sea, your eyes red, your skin white. And that was my upbringing. Couldn't have asked for it to be any better than that.
Wow. Nigel, I like Taihisa. Let's talk. Let's talk. Nigel, I like that vibes. What? Imagine Taihisa have to pass Lale Coco and she's seen plenty mangoes, and even when she reach Lubier, it's more
mangoes.
I like that. That's DA for you.
So in terms of geology, so of course you went through convent prep, you went through convent high school, and then you went through the ranks of the education system and so on, and you found yourself doing geology and geography and so on. What brought that love, or was it a love where you just happened to have got into that field by accident?
Well, I think, again, I just love nature. And when I was in convent, I did major in geography, biology, and chemistry. So I was always in that field. A little side note, though, you said that my brother is Father Peter. nobody thought that this guy would have become the priest, right? Everybody thought I would have become the nun because I was just so involved in church. While this guy, it was a story to get into church on a Sunday. Then when he go to church, he had the back sleeping. Now my mother would have gone to Mass Fatima Saturday night. My dad would have gone to Point Michel. My father never lived in Point Michel, but if you ask anybody in Point Michel, they will know Peter Hill because everything my father does is Point Michel. So it was just my brother and I who went to the Holy Spirit Chapel in Louviers. So obviously he would be sleeping at the back and my parents would never know because they're not at church, right? So anyway, I really wanted to have been a nun and I maintained that well through high school. So even in convent, I would always be in the convent, which is the nun section. I built relationship with the nuns and everything. And I guess that kind of left me when I decided to go to the States for college, for university. And I knew that I wanted to do geography, but I didn't like human geography. I wanted to deal with the earth. And so in researching, which I always encourage people, research what else is out there, right? So when I got to Connecticut, I came across geology and I started researching what is geology. And then I found out it's pretty much physical geography. So in geology, you study the formation of the earth, the changes that the earth goes through, the structures and all of that, the types of rocks, the minerals, gold, all these things. And the more I studied, it's just the more that I became intrigued in it. And obviously being from Dominica with 8 alive volcanoes, what's there not to love about geology? And my passion was always to go back home and to work, at least with ODM or with government, whatever it is. And I did. I had gone back home.
Nice. And along that journey, of course, I mean, with geology and all the rest of it, along that journey, did you discover or did you find yourself wanting to do some more research in terms of Dominica and its active volcanoes and all that sort of stuff? Did you find yourself wanting to do some research on that?
Definitely. So good question. Every single research project that I did while at school was on Dominica. I never spent my time researching the US because I figured all you have all your money, use it to research all your own place. So I would use the opportunity and the resources that I have, and I would have researched Dominica. So for my bachelor's, I did a study on the Boiling Lake, Prairie Lake, and Freshwater Lake, which are our 3 kind of volcanic lakes, so to speak. And for the Boiling Lake, it was very interesting because I remembered, so I used to come back to Dominica for Carnival every year. I always had an excuse. I would tell my professor, I have a family emergency and I gone. So my very good friend, Whitney Greenaway, which is granddaughter of Loverty Greenaway, her mom worked with an airline well, she still does, but back then. And the Friday night, we were on a flight, and the Wednesday morning, first flight out of Dominica, we were back. So I remembered one year I came down the Friday night. Saturday morning, my dad and I woke up. We hiked to Boiling Lake. I took out, because I had to collect samples from the bottom of the lakes. So we went down, and disclaimer, do not try this when the Boiling Lake is filled, or at no point in time, in fact. We went down, there's a little river that comes into the Boiling Lake. We went down in there, and we had an apparatus that we used to drag a sample from the bottom of the Boiling Lake. And so I had to use that sample to then test when I came back to the US. So all the results of that was in my study. So after we did the hike Boiling Lake, I went to Calypso show the Saturday night. Then the Sunday used to be Sauce and Punch. I don't think I've ever done Queen show. Then the Monday, obviously Juve. Then Monday nights, that lap. Then Tuesday, last lap. Wednesday morning, I was gone straight to school. So I enjoyed that for 4 years of college. So then for my master's.
But even before you move on, Taihisa, in terms of the research that you would have done on the boiling lake, and when you look at the recent activities with the boiling lake, what is your take on that in terms of what has been happening lately as far as the activities there are concerned?
Yes, so boiling lake, the source of I guess the boiling would be a magma chamber, right? So it would be molten rock. Now, the water that fills up the boiling lake could be surface water or what you call underground water as well, right? Now, every now and then, and this is not the first time, the boiling lake has dried up and come back several times, right? Now, I think my analysis of that is our surface water could be dropping pretty low as a result, not fueling the boiling lake enough. The other or the flip side to that is maybe one of the sources or the major sources of water into the boiling lake blocks and unblocks, right? And when it blocks, it then stops the water from flowing to the boiling lake and maybe takes a different path. And I mean, anything can block a channel. It could be a rolling stone. It could be a landslide happened somewhere and it blocked the traffic temporarily. After time of forceful attack of the water on that material, it can unblock it. It can happen again and so on. So these are some of the, I guess, the explanations of why it empties and it fills out that I have of the boiling lake.
Wow.
Interesting, everyone.
Very.
I mean, initially our discussion with family is going to be on immigration because
yes,
she's a licensed regulated immigration consultant. But not knowing fully the background in terms of her studies and what she's done, here we are with geology and the boiling lake, which just tells me in a sense that let me say congratulations to you from the outset. In terms of what you've been able to do and how you've been able to still use your studies, even if you're not doing it on a regular basis now. So, I mean, we're here talking about geology and the boiling lake and nature and all the rest of it. And we haven't even got into the immigration part yet. So that's interesting. Yep. Right?
Yes. And Taihisa, you also went on to attain an MS in GIS. So tell us about that as well.
Yes. So one thing, Nigel, I'm still a consultant, so I still do geology and GIS. Actually working on a project for Dominica right now that's going to look at mapping and disaster preparedness. So I've never stopped doing that, which is my first love, right? Then for GIS, that one I think was really dear to me, and Hurricane Maria proved everything that I did in that study. Sadly, it stayed on somebody's desk and was never acted upon, right? So I graduated with my master's in 2008. And my master's was using GIS to delineate flood evacuation routes in Dominica in the event of a 100-year storm. What was Maria? Classical example of a 100-year storm, right? Now, what I did, I looked at all the hurricane shelters that we have in Dominica and I mapped them out. So I had their exact location. Then I looked at what has been the flooding history for Dominica and I mapped that out. And from that, I identified all the hurricane shelters that were prone to flooding. I made a list of that. All those that were safe, I made a list of that. Then the final part was I used the GIS in what is called a least cost pathway. So I'm telling the machine, take out these people in the flood zone and move them to the best shelter. When you get to that shelter, if the population that you moved surpasses the capacity of that shelter, move them to the next one. So that system was just taking people and moving them. We had to keep in mind the elderly people. We had to keep in mind disabled people. We had to keep in mind children. All of that was part of the program. And from that, we would have said, okay, these locations are now the best places to put hurricane shelters, right? So that was my project. And I remember when I finished it, I met with whoever the minister was at that point in time. I presented my project and I'm like, I would love to see this looked at and implemented. And here comes Hurricane Maria.
Nigel,
granted,
we have a job to do. Wherever this is sitting, the person who has this document.
I have just taken notes here.
No, man, Nigel.
I have just taken notes. And you know we have many people who listen and those who listen and those of influence too. So you're hearing both Ivone and myself. More so me. Monday morning, go to the office and get that document.
Yeah, yes, let's dust it off the shelf. Let's put it into action.
Start working on it right now. This is no.
I'm sure it's shredded by now. That was 2008.
Finally, you have a copy.
Yes, and then Hurricane Maria came, and you're overseas, and you're listening to what is happening, and then you're telling yourself what, because you had sort of prepared, for how we could strategize in terms of going forward. If a powerful disaster were to hit.
Yep. So in 2017?
Yes.
Maria hit.
Yes,
I was actually living in Trinidad and Tobago at that point in time with my family. And I don't even know if I could have thought, I mean, the anger that, oh my God, but also the strength of Hurricane Maria, that's very, well, obviously, if we had planned, we could have maybe had like stronger structures or whatever it was, but Hurricane Maria was a super hurricane. So whereas we go up to category 5, Hurricane Maria was beyond the 5. So I think for the most part, it was just fair. And what my major thing was just, how can I remember that being in Trinidad? How can I get in touch with Dominica? And for those of you who are online who remember that time and who are on my Facebook, they knew that I was instrumental in connecting radio operators in Trinidad to see if they can link up with radio operators in Dominica, and trying to get like different people names for them. And Wayne Abraham in Portsmouth was one of those that I kept on sending his name to the operators in Trinidad to see if you can get him, because I know Wayne is all into hazard. Mm-hmm. So Wayne was smart enough to have brought down his antenna before the storm and was able to put it back up. So we started getting communication from Wayne. And then my husband, who works with Digicel, they chartered some helicopters, and he went to Dominica. And I think they landed in the stadium. And then, no, it wasn't the stadium. I can't remember, but he had to make his way to Castle Comfort, and he walked. So eventually I started getting pictures from him and started knowing that, okay, that person is okay, and that person is okay, and that person is okay. So I started posting all these things on my Facebook. And I mean, the communication, like Dominicans were just flooding me. Ask for that person, ask for that person, ask for that person. And that's how I think that was maybe the first set of communication that a lot of Dominicans had from Dominica. And then the French came in with their helicopters and they flew over, and then things started kind of opening up a little bit more. So it's sad, it's frustrating, because I like having that passion for natural disaster, knowing that Dominica is prone. I mean, Dominica is maybe the most prone island to natural disasters in the Caribbean. We're central in the chain of islands. Hurricanes always pass on from the Atlantic Ocean into the Caribbean Sea. As you go north or south, it decreases as to where the hurricane will pass. So that means if you're central, your chances are higher than anybody else north or south from you. We have 8 active volcanoes. We also have 1 underwater, right? So these are things that we know. It's no surprise to us in Dominica. And we need to take steps into certain mitigations that we can do to prevent like being hit so badly all over the time, all the time.
Mm-hmm. Nigel, look at how we found the guests.
You fired me up today with that.
Connect the dots on that.
you can hear the passion.
Nigel.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
By the way, Nigel, quickly, I'm just getting a message from my very good friend, Tronada. And he's saying that he too has a master's in GIS, as well as, he has many projects that he has done that are applicable to DA as well. We know he'll be on soon, Nigel, so we'll get his story as well. But let me just say good morning to him. Taihisa. Wow, you have done so much. And
I would like to link up with him, Ivona. So ask him to connect with me.
Yes, I will send you his number. But Nigel, I mean, we are looking to discuss with Taihisa more on her work, in as an immigration consultant. And look at what we have found.
Can you believe?
Wow.
I mean, as I said, we were connecting on one topic, and then we found the subtopic that's becoming the topic, and to me that's wonderful. That's great, and that's what connecting the dots is all about. It's connecting with, on different levels and different angles, and I could hear the passion in Tahisa's voice, and she spoke about not just the projects, but what can be done and what needs to be done, because we are so prone to those. And as we come through to the hurricane season, which we are in right now, and we've been having some waves, and you heard I want to talk about, all the rain that's home back now, and so on and so on. So I know it's beginning to stir up some emotions in you again. Maybe every hurricane season you begin to feel that way, right?
To me, every day, because apart from hurricane season, any minute now we can have a volcanic eruption, So there's, I know,
I'm just kidding.
God forbid.
We have seen activities increasing recently, so.
Exactly.
Tremors.
So, I mean, these are things that we just always have to stay. I'm not saying live your life in fear, but we have to prepare for these things.
We sure do. Ivona?
Yes, we Nigel. Best I sit, man, Nigel.
Let's see if we can get a visa.
Yes, I pull in my chair with Nigel. I want to sit for this week because I suspect
let's see if we can get a visa now.
No, boy, I sit in.
Now that we are prone to those disasters, maybe in a few days, maybe saying, you know what, let me see how I can get to Canada. Let me see
get out.
So that was a good way to move, to tell you how you can get that. So, Taihisa, tell us a little bit about immigration consultancy. What is that? Being a consultant, what does that involve?
Yes, so I became licensed this year. I started the process about 2 years ago, so in 2020. And being a licensed immigration consultant means you're licensed or you're able to represent clients. So most people may know of different agencies who would just take your information, fill out your visa form and kind of tell you, look, submit it, or they submit it, but they submit it as you. When you work with a licensed consultant, I submit it as me representing you. So think of it like a lawyer, where the lawyer would go to court and represent you. All you need to do is just sit down and whatever the lawyer asks you for, you provide. So it's a very same concept. There's an immigration consultant and there's an immigration lawyer. So the consultant does everything up to tribunal. Tribunal is like a quasi court. So if, for example, you apply for something and government denies you and you have the ability to appeal, you can go back to court and say, this is not a right decision. I would like it appealed. I would be able to represent you at that. Now, a very small percentage of cases actually move on to Supreme Court. So let's say it might be a refugee or humanitarian and compassion, or maybe something due to racism or something like that. If there is any question after tribunal, then it's taken to the Supreme Court. And at the point of the Supreme Court, a lawyer has to take it over from there. A consultant would not be able to go that far.
All right. Let us backtrack a little. I mean, there are a lot of immigration consultants. So I want to find out from you how important it is, or is it rather, for people to verify their immigration consultants?
Oh, please, 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 please do. And I think, and you'll get the passion coming out of me in a while. Another reason why I really pushed I want to give a shout out to Wayne James out in Sylvania. Wayne was very inspiration in pushing me to go forward with that, because I had given him some information once and he said, you ever thought of doing that as a career? And I'm like, God, I'm doing so many careers already, but no. So when I actually looked into the program, that was the last time the government was allowing it to be offered at different colleges and universities in Canada. So I jumped on the opportunity and then COVID hits. So had I not done it now, I would have had to be paying almost 10 times more right now to do that same program because they made changes. So one of my fuel was to represent people properly, because especially us in the Caribbean and like in India and Africa, you find that we're being scammed a lot by people who claim to be consultants, who would take your money, and when it's time for results, they disappear. And I've seen it several times. And even with a lot of ads that people are sending me in terms of jobs, is that legit? Is that legit? No, it's not legit. And I guess we'll talk about it later on. So be very mindful when somebody claims that they are an immigration consultant. Mm-hmm. And it's as simple as Googling, how can I find my immigration consultant? Mm-hmm. Once you get that, we are all governed by the College of Immigration Citizenship Canada, or Immigration Citizenship Consultants. I can't remember what it stands for, but it's CICC. That college governs all of us. Mm-hmm. We have to make sure that you are in good standing. So once you pull up that link, you type in the person's name, it will tell you, okay, Taihisa Hill Guy, in good standing, licensed. It will tell you all of that. So please, you don't have to use me, but whoever you decide to use, vet that person, because there is a lot of money lost. There's a lot of scam. Government is also trying very hard. I think just this year, government pumped over $1 million into minimizing immigration scam and fraud. So it's real.
All right. So there are fly-by-night universities. There are also fly-by-night drum beaters like Nigel Francis.
Yeah.
You are telling me that there are also fly-by-night immigration consultants. So you have to vet properly. You have to ensure that you get the correct one. And you are one who is registered and licensed to do this.
Yes.
That's good, Nigel.
It is, and it's important that you went through that step to make sure that happened. Yes. So in terms of what happens when a client comes to you, but even before we get to that, one of the things that we have in Dominica is, I know at one point in time we had a lot of those who went to do seasonal farm work, or in Canada especially. What is the process like for them? Once that is over, can they go ahead and apply to remain in Canada, or what's the process?
Yes. So I don't know what the process is in Dominica for them to become a seasonal farmer. So there is the seasonal farm workers is actually an agreement between the government of Canada and the government of almost all the Caribbean islands and Mexico. So every year, I believe the government of Canada would say to, let's say, the government of Dominica, you have an allocation of 100 people. And then the government will find those 100 people and then go through that process. Now, when they come to Canada, there are different programs that are open, immigration programs, that if you qualify for, you can put in an application for permanent residency. Now, one of the things I really love about Canada immigration is the fact that you can sponsor yourself. You don't need to fake a marriage. You don't need to make sure you have an employer. If you meet certain eligibility criteria, you sponsor yourself. So nobody can cut vary for you after you get your PR because you did it on your own, right? So what I'm finding with a lot of the farm workers who are approaching me to go on is that a lot of them do not have a high school diploma. And for many immigrations in Canada, that is the bare minimum that you need. So I actually have it written on my list of things that I really want to touch on. So please, if you're considering any program in Canada, even if it's to just come and work as a construction worker, a caregiver, whatever it is, at least have a high school diploma. And when you think about it, why? Well, somebody might ask, but why Canada wants so many immigrants? Because Canada is underpopulated, right? Immigrants fuel the economy of Canada, period, right? So we have a lot of employment shortages in Canada. Canadians are getting older and Canadians are not making children enough to replace that, right? So immigration is a big necessity in the economy of Canada. So they have a lot of programs available that people can filter through to become permanent residents. But if you think about it, no country would want any and everybody to come in, because you're going to raise their level of, let's say, uneducated or unemployed or on this or on that, or let's say health challenges. You're going to raise that in the country. No country would want that, right? So they have to set limitations in their criteria. Having a high school diploma is one. So I don't know if it's BTC in Dominica or whatever agency that offers high school diplomas. I would be happy to network with you and let's get this program running. Get a high school diploma. And once we have that, you open up yourself to a lot of programs.
So we have established the fact that there are a myriad of things that one can decide to do in Canada if their choice is to immigrate to Canada. So they can visit, yes, but they can work. We said they can study, they can do business, and even sponsor family, or they can even sponsor themselves. What have you observed more of in recent time?
Study permits has been a very big thing. Student route is actually the biggest immigration program. So that's where Canada gets most of its foreigners from. And the government are actually implementing more programs to help these students gain permanent residency. So definitely students. And then the second one would be visitors visa.
In terms of the students, so let's suppose in there, those in Dominica and throughout the Caribbean, because we have listeners all over, students who want to come to Canada. And of course, they've applied to the colleges and everything's going and so on. Once they are through with their studies, are they able then to go ahead and begin the process to become a Canadian citizen?
Definitely. So, and again, I would stress that, Nigel, I'm not taking away people from the US, but if you're thinking of going to school, I would highly recommend that you consider going to Canada as opposed to the US. And the reason being, when I went to school in the US, we had the option of what is called OPT. And after studying, I could have worked, and if a company is willing to sponsor me, blah, blah, blah. I had all of that. And I said, Pam, I'm going back at my home, and I gave up everything and I went back to Dominica. So in Canada, once you finish school, so if you do a 1-year program, you will get a 1-year, what is called postgraduate work permit. If you do a 2-year program or more, you will get a 3-year postgraduate work permit. Once you work 1 full year in Canada, and again, it has to be at certain levels, right? Once you work 1 full year, you are then able to do what is called the Canadian Experience Class Program. So you put in an application to get invited, the government selects you, you then apply for permanent residency. You don't need no job once you work that year. Even if they fire you after that year, even if you're still working, even if you leave Canada and you go back home, once you have that 1 year, you become eligible to apply for the Canadian Experience Class.
Go ahead, Nigel.
No. I was just going to say, it almost feels like the process or the path to citizenship in Canada is a lot, I'm not going to say easier, but there are less hurdles that one has to jump as compared to the US and other areas.
Yes, definitely.
Now, visitors, so that would be for the study, right? So those who
Yes.
considering wanting to study in Canada, they can do that. What about for those who are looking for employment? Is it the same in terms of just a year, or once you've worked for a year you can then apply? What's the process there?
Yes. So I actually have a webinar coming up on June 23rd for working in Canada, because that's maybe one of the area I get the most questions on. I want to work in Canada. And I would love to say it's that easy. I want to work in Canada, and you just come and you start to work. But it's not that easy, which is why I'm saying all these ads you're seeing about working in Canada and they have a million positions, be mindful. These are scams. One or two might be legit, but not all, right? Now, in order to work in Canada, you must have a company willing to bring you in. And that company must go through a process of screening with government, which is called a labor market impact assessment. Again, as much as Canada government wants people to come in, they have to protect their own as well. So you're not going to bring in a foreigner when I have a local that can do the job for you, right? So the company has to go through that process of proving that to the government, proving their finances, proving they're paying taxes, all of that. They also have to prove that the amount of foreign workers would not exceed the amount of local workers, right? Once the company goes through that process, then they scrutinize you, and then you put in an application for a work permit. Even then, it doesn't mean that your work permit is going to get approved. Because keep in mind, every temporary resident, so students, workers, visas, you have to prove to the government that you're going back at your home, right? So even if, and it makes no sense really, even if the government has programs for you to stay, they still want to know you're going back. It really doesn't make sense, but c'est quoi ça y est, right? That's how it is. Mm-hmm. So you have to prove that. And if your work permit is approved, then you come to Canada as a worker. So it's not as simple as I can just apply for a study permit, I can just apply for a visa and you come. No, the work permit is different. Now, the other work permit is if, for example, so let's say, Nigel, you and I are married, and where I'm coming to Canada as a student, you as my spouse, you're able to apply for a work permit. So you would not need any sponsorship from any company because you're coming as a tag along with my study permits, right? So that is one of the options where you would have what is called an open work permit, which means you can work anywhere. The other one where the employer sponsors you is a closed work permit. So you can only work with that employer. And then that will lead us on. You work 1 year, you sponsor yourself. Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right. By the way, just getting a message. In fact, it came earlier from Marshall Alexander, the senior Met officer in Dominica. And he was saying that he need your contact. So that's someone else I would have to give your contact to as well. But as we discussed the immigration, well, your job in that field as an immigration consultant, tell us about your business, the name of the business, where you are located, how people can get in touch with you as well. Towards the end of the program, I'd want you to repeat that. But it's important that people has this contact. Of course, they can get you on Facebook and other places, but give us a little more about your business and the name of it in particular.
Yes, so it's funny that your show is called Connecting the Dots, because when I did my program, we had to put a business plan in place, and the name of my business was Connecting the Dots.
Hey, you spoke to Nigel, man. Nigel, we don't come up with the name. I had a name and Nigel fine. Connecting the Dots is better, Papa Yvonne.
It's a brilliant name, especially with immigration. You connecting the dots, right?
I agree.
But when I was licensed and I had to register the company, that name was taken for an immigration company. So Tabula Rasa Immigration Services. Tabula Rasa is, I believe, a Latin word, which means clean slate. Okay. So the idea is you're coming to Canada to start a clean slate. Or
Tabula Rasa.
Yes, it's actually English. It's now English, but it's originally a Latin word. I am located in Ottawa, so I'm in the capital of Canada. You can find me on every social media, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. What again it have? I think that's all. And on WhatsApp, I can share my business number. I am on WhatsApp. Feel free to message me. And what again I have to say, Ivona?
Hey. Well, of course, you mentioned the fact that you are located in Ottawa. You gave us the name of the business and where people can contact you. Nigel, anything else on that area?
No, I think the contact is what we wanted now, because there's so many other things we have to talk about.
Yes.
We have the contact information, and then of course we will have it again towards the end of the program.
Definitely.
For those who are either thinking of moving to Canada or those who are actually in Canada and maybe having, whatever immigration questions they may have.
Or they may want their children to go to study in Canada. But let me just say quickly, Vado says she's listening. Very good program. She's also indicating that she and her family, they are Canadians, and her grandchildren, they are Canadians by birth. So good morning to you, Vado. Nigel, by the way, I see the phones lighting up.
Take a call.
Let's see if this person wants to contribute to the program. You are on. Good morning, Connecting the Dots.
Yeah, good morning, Ivona.
Hi.
Morning to your guests and them.
All right.
Good morning.
So from what I'm gathering, when she speaks of the diploma, apparently even to throw rubbish as well, because she said at least that is what you need to have in your hand to be able to come up to work. But I want to ask her a question: if there's any word on easing up on that visa restrictions for Dominicans coming up to Canada, because you must have the visa to enter into Canada, since after some incident a few years ago. Is she hearing any word, or is there any lobbying that to remove that visa restrictions on Dominicans traveling to Canada? Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks for your contribution to the program. Taihisa, you heard?
I sure did, yes. So the first question, when I say, the first thing that I said was there would be certain programs that the government will have available so that, for example, someone who is here in Canada or working can actually go through to sponsor themselves. So one thing that each province usually does is they have like areas of fields that they need people in. So for example, Ontario would need nurses, farmers, doctors, orderlies, ward aides. What again? These are some I can think of. So if, for example, you're in Canada in those fields as a worker, you can move forward and put in your application. So at that point in time, the high school diploma is necessary. So they would most likely not have a program for dumpsters or like street sweepers or something like that, right? So the programs will actually highlight what field that they're interested in. And I hope that answers his first question.
All right. Just hold your thought on the second question. Let me see if this person wants to share as well quickly. Connecting the dots, you are on. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Ivona.
To you as well.
Very interesting program.
Thank you.
I'm there listening to Miss Hill Guye. And then I find she has a lot. She's very well-rounded.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I have a daughter studying and working in Texas, so I call her to ask her if she ever heard of Miss Hill. She told me yes. So Miss Hill, that's Kelsia's mom. She told me. Kelsia Wrighton.
Kelsia Wrighton. You heard that, Taihisa?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
So she told me you reached out to her. That was very good.
Yes.
Okay.
That was very good of you. So I'm listening. As I was saying to Kelsia, I could listen to Ms. Hill all day because she has a lot of information.
All right.
So
well,
anyway,
thank you so much.
Constant listener to connecting the dots.
Okay. All right then.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
bye-bye.
that. All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, man. So yes, Nigel, Taihisa is really a people's person. And the way that she brings out the information makes you want to listen, you know?
Yes.
Drink your coffee, mind your business, listen to what she's saying, take your water, something like that. Yes, Taihisa.
So I just wanted to say that I have my cocoa sticks in my fridge, my yampe. I'm going to fry it for lunch this afternoon.
Yes, my girl.
I have my codfish and my green banana also. So Nigel, I was not jealous, okay?
Nigel.
So, sorry, Nigel. You need to up your game, Nigel. Sorry.
Okay, Papa. Ellis, can I have some fig and codfish? Thank you.
yes.
Right. So the second question on the visa restriction, I actually have a funny story on that.
Tell us.
So when I did my immigration program, majority of the students were from Iran. We had Vietnam, all over China, and my teacher was from Russia. So you can see how Canada diverse, right? So one day I said that I was from Dominica and we were talking about visitors visa. And the Russian, and I don't know for other Russians, but the two that I know, they have no Kobin, like we'll say in Dominica. Yes, they would just say what they want, how they want, as they want. And she said, oh, Dominica, that's that little island in the Caribbean in which a plane came from China full of Chinese with Dominican passports, cannot talk English. And when the immigration officer asked, where is Dominica? None of them could answer. And that plane was sent right back to China. And we've had visa restrictions since then. So are the visa restrictions going to be uplifted? I have no idea. Has word been out on those? I have no. I can confidently say no. You don't necessarily just get visa restrictions uplifted like that, because I mean, if anything, maybe more countries are being added to that list as opposed to being removed from that list. And, as terrorism and things like that become more active in the world, it's going to be hard to just take those restrictions off. Also, keep in mind that visas are a money-making program. So if let's say 100 people a year apply for visa from Dominica and you take that away, that's 100 visas they're not going to get money for, right? So these are some of the points that I would have on that.
All right, let's go back to the telephone. There's someone else. Good morning. Connecting the dots.
Hi, good morning.
Hey, Papa. Look it.
Good morning, Miss Hill Guy. Can I ask you a question? I am Canadian. My daughter is, and her children are born Canadians. Okay, but they live in the States. My granddaughter just graduated last week, but as she's Canadian, she said she prefers to go back to Canada to find a job. She wants to take 1 year off before she enters university. So is that possible? But she's Canadian. You understand?
I would prefer if we can answer this off air so that I can get more information. But if she's Canadian, there should be nothing stopping her from going back home.
Oh, right. Because she wants to go back to Canada. But she got the thing, as I told you, she graduated last week in New York. Yeah. Okay.
What you can do, maybe pass on my information to her.
Right, that's what I was saying. Okay. Yes. So when you give it to Ivos, I will get the information from Ivos. Okay? No, and I'm listening attentively, very interested. Anything for Canadians, I am there. I'm listening. If I was the information, I'll get it from her.
Yeah. So you have your cocoa-tea?
Yes! Yeah, I don't worry with Nigel. No? Nigel, stay there. Stay there. I have it in my second cup. Okay, Nigel, stay there. And soon I go and get my fig and codfish. And I going to the cricket game. Yes.
Oh, yes. You sent me a message early, very early.
Yes, I have for today and tomorrow.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I there.
Okay, Papa.
Okay, darling.
My girl.
Bye.
Right. Yes.
All right.
Vado.
I know, of course. Vado, one of our constant ones, always connecting with us every Saturday.
Winnie Green, by the way, Nigel, let me just say,
a few more calls.
Let me say quickly, Winnie Green is also saying good morning to us, and she's tuning. She is enjoying the discussion that we are having. I'm getting some more messages indicating that they just love, people that are saying that they just love this girl, you know, they love her tone, you know, and the way she speaks. So big up.
Thank you.
Big up. Yes, Nigel, you were
Thank
saying?
you.
Yes. No, I was just going to go back a little bit in terms of the, are there like any restrictions, Taihisa, in terms of, for those who may, apart from the visa, of course, once you get the visa and you get there, what would you recommend for people, those who probably might want to stay in Canada? Would you recommend that they go through the, I mean, at least get some employment for the work, or is it something they can apply right away? What would you recommend?
So once you get the visa and you come here, you can always change your status. So let's say you just wanted to see Canada, you came as a visitor, you can afford to go to school, then you stay in Canada and you apply for a study permit. Keep in mind that applications done inside of Canada are usually processed faster than if you had to go outside, if you had to do it outside of Canada. However, visitors visas, which are called temporary resident visas, you must apply for that outside of Canada, even if you're physically inside of Canada. So when we do the application, we have to do it. So let's say for Dominica, it may go to Trinidad, St. Lucia, Barbados, whichever one, right? The other thing is what I'm finding, especially recently. So I know a lot of people on the call are maybe saying, so long I put in my visa application, up to I don't hear from nobody. Canada is very backlogged on all applications. Number one, we had COVID, and Canada was one of the countries that took COVID very seriously, and we were shut down completely for at least a year, right? So that would have been 2020. Then when we kind of started opening up, the whole situation with Afghan came. Now, before you guys were talking about the war in Ukraine and Putin, Canada has taken on, I guess, an oath with UN that there's a certain number of refugees that they take on. And in times of war, Canada just have to open their doors pretty much. So we were on hold for Afghanistan, which was the ending of 2021. And now we're on hold for Ukraine. So when we're doing an application, even as a consultant, we have certain options that government has highlighted for us to select. So are you a Ukraine refugee? Are you an Afghan refugee? Are you coming to visit? Are you coming to see family? Based on the option you choose, that might decide if your application comes at the top or at the bottom. So it's almost like I cannot have refugees dealing with, and I approving you to come Canada and see, right? So it's like you have to weigh those applications. So the other thing is, I forget what I was even answering, Nigel, because I bludgeon on. Ask me again, please.
You're just like me, man, when it comes to that. I just forget.
No, I was just simply asking in terms of, and yeah, you kind of answered it in terms of when you're there and, you know, what is the process, whether there are other restrictions.
Yes.
So
okay, thank you. My views
Trust
are like,
Nigel to remember,
I think I in my 20s.
Messi.
I closer to 40 than I am to 20. Anything.
Okay, Papa.
All right. So so when you come as a visitor, there are companies in Canada who are looking to hire foreign workers, right? So then it becomes, and that's why I was explaining all the day for, but it becomes easier to kind of get a work permit approved if you're here as a visitor than if you outside of Canada, let's say maybe without a visitor, without a visa, or you have a visa, but you're still outside, right? Because like I said, we do have a labor shortage. So if a company wants you, they want you now. And then you can now apply for a work permit from within Canada and get a faster response. So there definitely, when you come as a visitor, there's no limitations as to what direction you can go. Once these programs are available and you're eligible, you can put in an application.
All right, let's go back to the telephone. I think we have someone on the line. Okay, I think we lost that call. Yeah, Nigel, we lost that call. So
no worries with that.
Back, yeah.
What about musicians and artists? is it do they have programs that they're able to get onto in Canada for work permits and for stays and so on, if you're just in the entertainment industry?
And even before you answer that, let's see, just stick a pin there. Let's see if this person wants to share. Good morning. Hi, connecting the dots.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. I'm a first-time listener calling from Indianapolis, Indiana.
From where?
Listening, Indianapolis, Indiana.
Okay.
Yeah. Just listening, first-time listener. Just taking the conversation. One love.
All right, keep that time next weekend every Saturday.
Yeah, man. Man. I'm sorry. Yes, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Interesting. Yes. So you will answer Nigel's question, Taihisa?
Yes. So before I answer Nigel's question, I just glance my eyes and I want to say good morning to Eunice Simeon, my cousin is logged in, and Violin Laura, family. Good morning.
What?
All right. So for the entertainment, actually, there is a self-employed category that is for musicians or artists and athletes. However, you have to prove that you are a well-known and experienced in either one of those. So let's say if you just playing in the church band in Dominica, that wouldn't work. Or if you just play, let's say for your high school, that wouldn't work. But if let's say you're on the West Indies cricket team, then that can possibly work for you to come to Canada as a self-employed to train in that field, or if you have an employment offer. So yes, there is. The other thing too is once you have a diploma or a degree, there is the stream called express entry, which then opens it up to everybody, regardless of your field of study, right? And you can prove the years of experience. And please, souple, merci, bon Dieu, have your money ready. Because any program that you are eligible for, you need to show proof of funds. If you sponsor in a mother, a father, a sister, a brother, a nenen, you need to have proof of funds. If you come into school, you need to have proof of funds. If you sponsor in your own self, you need to have proof of funds. So 2 things I have on my list here: save your money and get your high school diploma. These 2 things open up a lot of doors for you here in Canada.
Save your money and get a high school diploma. By the way, you mentioned Violin Laura. Nigel, remember Luana Laura is one of the people that, we have on our list. We have a very, very long list of people we have to speak to. So I know we have to bring in Luana Laura at some point. Let me go to the telephone. There's another caller on the line. You are on Connecting the Dots. Good morning. Hey.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Listen,
I would like to find out the process. What is the process like for someone who studies medicine in Cuba in terms of medical license and other specializations?
Hello.
All right.
I did not really get
it. I think they were saying like if you
studied in Cuba,
did medicine in Cuba, and you wanted to move over to Canada, what's the process like? I think that's what they were saying.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what I got from it.
So hold this question and let's just take this other one quickly. You are on to Connecting the Dots. Good morning. What?
Yes, good morning. Hi, Joanna. Good morning, Mrs. Guy. I just want to. Hello? Nigel, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'll let Ivona take it this time.
Listen, I listen to your program every Saturday, and you all have some very interesting programs. But I just want to commend this young lady. I know her parents. I used to live in Fort-Baron. My sister is married to a Lugue. So the Lugue is close to the river in Fort-Baron. So, and I just want to commend her for all her success and what she's able to share with the the people out there.
Yeah.
And I just want to tell her to continue her quest, in information and sharing information with the people. So you all have a great day.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Nigel, the messages are coming. A lot of people are saying that they're enjoying the program. Let me say good morning to Lilia. Lilia, my girl, DGS. Thanks for that. It's good
Because
to
you
know
have to
that
put DGS in it too.
Mind me, Nigel. You see? Anyway, so we have more calls in Nigel. But anyway, Taihisa, you were answering a question I think Nigel would have posed earlier. You remember it, right?
Yeah, yes, I wrote it
Nigel,
down
look
for
at
me
the
to
time already.
remember.
Look at the time already, man.
I know. You want to take the last call or something before she answers the question?
Let her answer the question. Let her answer the question. Let's see what happens.
Okay.
Yes,
so
Taihisa, go ahead.
the Lugays I want to maybe we're related.
Yes, of course, because if you say I'm
Hey, I know you that one, eh?
No, but if Buple, if the late Buple is was your uncle, right?
Uncle.
Okay,
yes.
so there's a relation in terms of
But in the Lugay
side,
side, yeah, so the Lugays by the bridge in Lugay
yeah.
that the last
Valina
caller
and the others,
referred to.
yes.
These are all my cousins as well.
Nigel, mind me, you see I didn't say that earlier on. You see how it come out? Okay, so let's go. Yeah, continue. I think you were answering a question. Lauren Banis, by the way, saying good morning. Another very fantastic program, very informative. Well done. Go ahead, Taihisa.
Thank you. All right. So the last caller, very good question, but I kind of make it a little bit broader in terms of just overall licenses or qualifications. So an engineer, a teacher, a doctor, a nurse, you cannot just transfer these qualifications to Canada. You have to become Canadian certified. So it could mean most of them have maybe a 1 year or 2 year program. You may have additional courses, whatever it may be, but there has to be that process where they get you up to par with the Canadian system. Another thing I get a lot of is, but Canada want nurses. Yes, we do, but you have to get up to par in order to enter the nursing system in Canada.
Cool. As you said about the nursing, I just got a message from someone who's saying that there's a nurse, a visitor's visa, walks to a hospital, asks for a job, the company wants to hire, especially with the staffing shortage. What's the process?
Yes,
Lynn,
so that
would what you want me to ask.
So that would be the LMIA process that we spoke about. The company has to go for that before they can hire you.
So just quick follow up on that. So I mean that particular person, well, I'm going to pass your information to her, of course, because I know she's in the risk and looking for that situation like that. So I'll have her connect with you.
Definitely.
Wow. I tell you, Nigel, messages coming up plenty there.
Yeah,
look, somebody saying Nigel jealous you for what again, Nigel? What? Nigel, well, that's good. That's very true. Let me give you a clap.
Take one today. Take one.
Yeah, I'll take one. I will take. But Taihisa, there's so much more that we can discuss. I'm looking at the time. How do you keep? Well, I was just about to ask a question that really is probably not the best question because you answered that earlier. I was going to ask you, how do you keep in connection with your Dominicanness, if that's a word I can create? It's more like a sniglet, but it's a word. How do you keep in contact? But you said that you always come, you like carnival and all of that. But around Independence time, what is happening? What is going through your mind if you're not in Dominica?
Well, I haven't been back home since 2016 for Creole Festival. I don't have any trips on the horizon anytime soon to come back. Sorry. I'm trying to just, after COVID, I think we've come to realize, explore, stop being too sheltered, go everywhere. So I want to just travel the world. That has always been a joy of mine to travel. So I want to more do that. Coming to Dominica is very expensive as well, so a lot of the times I can go to, let's say, Europe cheaper than it will get me to Dominica, right?
That's right. Drive across to the US and fly. We have flights.
And fly down, yes.
$180 something one way, $363 round trip. Thank you, American Airlines.
Oh.
I had to plug that in.
Okay, Papa.
I will contact you for that, my travel agent.
Yes. We might take so Nigel, we must plan something. We'll go to the Boiling Lake
But of course, I take some samples.
Yeah. Well, Nigel, look, someone is reminding me of how long ago I graduated. But Nigel, all I tell you, no, man. Nigel.
Delete that message.
But of course, no, man. Why is she telling me that, then? But anyway, yeah, man. But she's also asking if this is the young lady's mom, and her mom is Gloria Hill from Lubia. So yes, that's
yes.
Let's take another. My delete. That's so long. All these years then. Wow, man. Back to the telephone we go. Good morning. You are on Connecting the Dots.
Ivona, you always say you have. Well, I heard you mention you have a long list, but it would be interesting to have her back very soon.
Yes, sweet.
Or continuation, because I mean, it's a lot of information that we are getting there this morning. And tell her that's too long to be out of Dominica.
No.
Too long.
Come and get the Dominica water, man.
Exactly, and keep shopping. There's tickets that now you can go to Miami, Dominica. Mm-hmm. So it makes it easier for her. Yes. You don't have to go to Antigua or Barbados overnight.
Look, Nigel coming for the cricket tomorrow and go back. I agree.
So you probably because for yourself,
I know, right? Thank you. I appreciate that.
By the way, Rosalind Savra is saying great show. She's really enjoying the discussion. Taihisa, a lot of people are saying that you just like your vibe, so that's good.
Thank you. I get that a lot.
When Nigel, look at the time now.
I know, and as the last person said, I mean, there are other areas we haven't uncovered, and then of course, the geologist part we haven't even, uncovered so much of that as well. So I mean, in terms of like what you do currently, Taihisa, I guess you're juggling between your consultancy on the geology side and of course the immigration side as well. Have you had some, I don't want to use the word crazy, but have you had situations where you've had to try to find a way to get this person assistance in relation to the immigration status? Can you overstay in Canada? Can you help someone who has overstayed? Does your company offer that?
Nigel, one thing you smart, boy. One thing I learned from you. I doesn't ask good questions.
That's a very good question.
Very good question, seriously.
The first thing I want to encourage everybody, there is something called extension of stay. Many people do not know that. You can come as a visitor when you have, so they usually stamp you to stay for 6 months, right? On your 5th month, apply for a stay extension. It's called a visitor's record. They will then extend it maybe for another 6 months, maybe for a year, maybe for 3 months, whatever it is. Once you put in that application before your 6 months is up, you get what is called maintained status. Some people call it implied status until a decision is made, right? So for example, my 6 months is coming to an end on August 3rd. I put in an application today. Once I send in that application and I get a confirmation email, my stay past August 3rd is implied until the government tells me yes, or you need to get out. Because you find a lot of people come in and they overstay. Once you overstay, that ruins your chances for all other programs. That is a no-no. So if you had to get a job or a work permit, if you had to get a student permit, you're now saying to government that I may not go back home, right? So it's very important. Go to the US border, turn around and come back. That will renew your 6 months as well, right? The other thing was once you were asking, once you overstay, what are your options? Honestly, at that point in time, your only option is MAE. You have to get married because no other program, there's another one called humanitarian and compassionate or refugee. You would have to go through those two processes. But again, to go through any one of those two processes, it has to be a serious situation for it to be approved. If these two situations are denied, you have to leave. There's no other option after those two. So refugee, humanitarian, and compassionate are your very last options. Do not go to those two unless you've tried everything else.
Do not mess up the chances.
And make sure you have a strong case.
Wow. Nigel, by the way, Noreen is asking if we are going to Canada or if we're trying to go to Canada.
Hey, Papa, I will do the visa for you for free.
Thank you. Okay, I will.
Yeah, and Janice in Sacramento, California is saying that she's enjoying the show. Very informative, interesting, and wonderful. And she's listening. So she's saying good morning as well. Nigel, I'm looking at the time. We'll have to try something again, Nigel, going forward. Yes, sir.
We have to find a way.
We have to, We have to. I could stay with Taisha, and just laugh, and get information at the same time and just enjoy, in this rainy Saturday.
That's the important thing of how we connect,
Mm-hmm.
So, yes. But I know you're looking at the time, so
yes,
I know what it means.
Although the vibes change, on a Saturday now, boy, and anyway. So, we can just, we might set up something new here very soon.
You never know.
Very soon. Right? Yes. Rosalind Sevra, by the way, is saying good morning. She's listening and enjoying the discussion this morning. So, Nigel, yes, well, we have to end, eh?
We do. We have to end. But, I want to say thank you to Taihisa for joining us this morning. More importantly, for connecting, right? Usually we're joining, but for connecting with us this morning. And for connecting with all those who are listening. You'll share your information again very quickly before we leave. But thanks for, accepting the invites. And let me say thank you as well to the Dominica Health Education Initiative,
yes.
On which Taihisa was a guest on their program. So, Anne-Marie and Annette and everybody else, thank you for having her on. But it was a pleasure, Taihisa. And
as you said that, Nigel, by the way, quickly, the Dominica Houston Association and Eva Luge, I think she gave us an assignment, so we have to contact her very, very soon. Yes, Taihisa.
Dr. Emmanuel Finn, we have you booked for July 23rd.
Nigel, I tell you.
But Taihisa, thank you again. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It was fun.
Yes,
I never met the two of you before, so it was very nice meeting you.
Yes. Nigel, and as we end, let me just extend sympathy as well to the family of Lisa Bellot. Lisa passed this week. Very, very sad. Gone too soon. Very young sad person.
Indeed.
Yeah. All right. So, Nigel, we'll do it again next time. Taihisa.
As always, we'll do it again next week.
We'll have you again next time as well.
Keep the connection. Enjoy the cricket if you go.
Well, yeah. I might be working with. Boy, look, work with.
Enjoy it still. Bring some.
Every day on air, man, Nigel. Yeah, these are the days when I really have to be on air. But it is what it is. It's when duty calls, you have to obey. So
that's how we do.
Yeah, man. All right.
Was it Banky Banks or something like that?
Duty calls, I must obey, of course. But Nigel, you go there. Banky Banks, I have a story about Banky Banks and you doing an MC duties at the Aracos of Culture, but that's for another show.
That's for another story.
Another story. And I co-MCing. But anyway, so we'll talk again. All right. Thanks, all the best.
Day.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Okay then.
You too. Bye-bye.
MC duties at the Aracos. All right. That's it, huh?
That's for another story.
That's how we come to the end of Connecting the Dots on DBS Radio today. I really enjoyed the program with Taihisa. Join us the next time for Connecting the Dots. Next week, Saturday, God willing, it's July. I love this month. We'll see how it goes, huh?